You woke up with something on your lip. You can't tell, is it a pimple or is it a cold sore? But once you know the 3 things to look for, you'll be able to tell them apart in seconds and know exactly what to do about it, regardless what it is. So I'm going to show you the 3 checks right now and what each one means. The first and biggest clue is where it's at. Pimples show up in random places, your chin, your cheek, your forehead, wherever. Cold sores almost always show up in the same spot, right on the border of where your lips meet your skin. That line where the color changes, right there. And a lot of times people that get them bad, they can kind of run down their chin and dance around their face, but that's typically where you see them. And I know it sounds weird, but the virus that causes cold sores actually hides inside a nerve near your jaw and it lives there permanently. Your immune system knows it's there. Most of the time, it can keep it pinned down. But when your immune system dips, you're getting sick, you're not sleeping well, you're stressed, you're traveling, the virus senses that and it starts to open and replicate itself, copying itself and growing. And then it travels down that same nerve every single time. That's why a lot of times they're in the same place. The second thing you can check is think about how it felt before you could even see it. A pimple, usually you can't tell anything. And if you can, it's like a dull, deep ache. You feel like there's a little pressure underneath. You press on it once and it's a little bit sore, but there's not much of a warning. Now, a cold sore gives you a signal, usually a full day or 2 before anything shows up. And it's that dreaded itching, tingling, burning feeling, and it's right in the spot where it's going to come. It gives you that crude warning. The third thing is to look how it actually formed. A pimple is usually one bump, one spot, maybe with a single whitehead in the center. There could be some fluid or some pus in the middle. A cold sore is usually a cluster. It starts as a tiny group of blisters packed tightly together, almost like a little bunch of grapes, little white grapes if you look really closely. And the fluid inside of those is clear. So it's not like a pimple where it's usually like a harder kind of yellow pus. I know it's gross to talk about, but it's a clear fluid inside. Because a pimple is just a clogged pore. It's annoying, but it's never contagious. Whereas a cold sore is a virus. It's HSV1. That's the medical term, herpes simplex virus type 1. Cold sores are contagious. They spread through direct contact, kissing, sharing a drink, touching the sore and then touching something else. But most people, they don't realize you get these when you're a kid. Most people are exposed to this. It's not like, I'm going to think back last weekend and I kissed this person. It's not like that. You're usually exposed at a young age, and either your immune system is lucky enough to be the type that can keep it down, or it's not, and then you're going to have to deal with it, right? But the good thing is your immune system gets better and better as you get older at keeping them down. So typically when you get the first outbreak, that's the worst, and it goes lower and lower. So if it is a cold sore, totally fine, no big deal at all. Most people will reach for Abreva, right? Or they'll just wait it out, because Abreva is made by GlaxoSmithKline. They have huge marketing budget, so they teach us, cold sore, get Abreva. And it can shorten the outbreak, but just by about half a day, right? 18 hours is the average looking at the clinical studies. The treatment that actually has the most evidence that it works, proof, is red light therapy. Studies show that it can cut healing time by almost half. And when you use it right when you get that tingle, sometimes it can actually stop them from forming. That's from clinical studies. That's not some influencer on Instagram getting paid to say that. That's doctors looking at 2 people and saying, this is what happened when we gave them red light therapy. But here's the problem. Most of the red light therapy devices that you see online and on Amazon, they don't work. They glow red, but they don't put out enough power to be effective. They don't give your skin enough energy to actually fight the good fight to keep the virus down. So when you see these clinical studies, I'm sure when you do your research online, you'll be quite impressed by the efficacy. That was done by devices that are approved by the FDA, like the Luminance RED. A 510K indication is the FDA saying, yes, this device is effective, it's powerful, and most importantly, it's safe. The other ones are not tested for safety, no biocompatibility or anything else like that. Building a device that's actually gone through the FDA, it's expensive. Nobody wants to do it. It's expensive to go through the process. You see some of these devices, they're $100, sometimes cheaper. They don't work because it's expensive to produce a machine that has enough power to be effective. So Luminance RED is one of the rare ones that actually went through the FDA, has a 510K, has the studies done that shows it's powerful and it's safe. So now that you know to tell if it's a pimple or a cold sore, if it is a cold sore, you need to know how bad it's going to get. What can you expect? So in the next video, I'll walk you through exactly what you can expect is going to happen and how best to treat it.